Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bible Illustrated Hands. This is the third time I'm recording this one, and if I have to do it one more I will scream. So I decided to take the idea from internet historian. He usually makes an additional video regarding some of his more popular videos on his secondary channel, so I thought I maybe do it as well. The theme for this video, of course, is the Tollhouse video. So I thought I'd talk how I made it, what I planned to include, what I didn't include, and so on. As for the visuals, the initial idea was to have solely funny tollhouses, so the drawings wouldn't correspond to my narration, but only to have funny toll houses. For example, I wanted to have a toll house for not pledging to Bible Illustrated on Patreon, and with me saying like yes, and then as soon as I do that, the path to that toll house branches off to the next toll house, which says guilt tripping your audience to pledge to you on Patreon. So whatever I do, I'm doomed. And there will be another you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't situation with a toll house for believing in toll houses, and immediately after it toll houses for not believing in toll houses. So no matter what you do, you will get in trouble on the toll houses. That was the plan as far as the visuals went. Here I will also include some stuff. I will mention what I didn't plan to what I planned to include, but ultimately didn't. When in the video when I said Christ looks what is best in people and demons look what is worst in people, I eventually wanted to say, well, why aren't there no good toll houses, like toll houses for visiting the sick, toll houses for feeding the hungry, and so on. But in the end it sounded too preachy and moralizing, so I decided to cut it off. Also, I wanted to make a mention of how the proponents of toll houses use every possible reference that they can get their hands on to demons being in air or Lord saving us from the devil as a proof of toll houses. And they wanted to make a conjecture with the purgatory, because whenever prayer for the departed is mentioned by early Christians, the Catholics take that as a proof of purgatory. But the problem with the purgatory is that it is a very defined dogma, and what Catholics think of purgatory is in all probability not exactly what many of the people who prayed for the dead in those ancient Christians' time had in mind, like that is purging of venial sins or punishment due to sin. So there's that. There is one big can of worms that I didn't want to open in the video, and I think that the opponents of the toll houses will particularly be disappointed that I didn't. But I didn't because I simply didn't have enough knowledge regarding that subject. I'm trumped in that way by language. I don't know Greek, and that is the fact that the version of the Tollhouse story of Theodora that we have is a heavily censored version, and that the original story is way crazier than what we read. It included, but not limited to, Gregory asking Basil the New to show him God the Father, which he does. Then Gregory being anointed by Saint Basil to become a son of God. So there was a lot of this Gnostic imagery that was eventually censored from the original version, and that censored version made finally got to Russia. So there was that. I really wanted to go into that, but I simply, the video was too long anyway. Also, there is also this vision of Gregory's vision of the Dread Judgment. That vision is very crazy. It is very detailed, what every heretic will encounter. But I heard that this vision especially was problematic. It was even further censored. That it was even on the list of heretical works in the Church of Constantinople. Again, there wasn't too much material I can find on this, so I didn't want to go into that direction. I mean, I am here, but this is just me sharing what I plan to include in video and whatnot. Then there were it seems to me that a lot of people missed what I actually was trying to get across in the video, and that is that it is the taxing of souls by demons that I mind, you know. And sometimes I feel like people don't comment without actually watching the video. Like they said, well, Boyan, so many saints believed in the Tollhouses. No, many saints believe that you encounter demons after you die, and that in all probability they accuse you, but that is not what Tollhouses are. And that is what I said in the video. You can't call it a Tollhouse and say that you are not judged in some ways by demons. If the Christ is the ultimate judge, fine, but that is not the impression that you get when you read Theodora's vision of Theodora. I don't even know how to call it. There are too many characters. I've mentioned spurious texts a couple of times, and I saw the name of Saint Cyril of Alexandria pop up a couple of times. Guys, that Saint Cyril didn't write that. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it because I oppose the Tollhouses. It is a well-known fact. You won't find it. You won't find his. You won't find that sermon of his in any scholarly resource worth its salt. Regarding Saint John Chrysostom mentioning the Tollhouses, that is there is this quote attributed to him, supposedly from a sermon called On the Remembrance of the Dead. However, I couldn't find this sermon mentioned anywhere except in the Tollhouse debates, and only in the verbatim form by Tollhouse proponents. So it rings very fishy to me. It might be true, I don't know. By the way, I don't mind if writing actually mentions them in some. For example, that vision of Saint Anthony the Great, where he sees a great demon swatting souls like flies. That one is genuine, you know. So it's not like, oh, it's Tollhouses, it's not genuine. No, there are genuine ones, like Saint Anthony. But again, that isn't part. That is not like demons taxing it. It's simply it falls into the category of demons dragging someone to hell. That is why I especially like. That is why I mentioned why. That there are a lot of things that people call by habit Tollhouses but aren't, and that is one good example of such a vision. I would also like to mention the comments in the video, because there were a lot of Orthodox who said, I never heard of this teaching, and surprise, surprise, yeah, because it's not a dogma, it's not really that important. And what I dislike about Tollhouse enthusiasts is how much they play up this to be one of the most important teachings that was taught by Arian. It's not, it's simply not. You know, you can make a collection of these and make it seem as it is like all over the place, but it's not. Just some crazy vision in medieval Byzantium. That's all there is to it. Also, there was why I mind this vision so much, because there are so many people who said that this teaching gave them anxiety. So these aren't people who deny reality of hell, you know. And one person even said, "Oh, just truly repent and you'll pass them easily." Theodora didn't pass them easily, and this is also one of the big problems they have with the vision. Saint Basil, I don't think he's a saint. Basil the New shows Gregory how Theodora is saved by Basil. You know, angels never pray for Theodora. That bag of gold never contains the prayers of the Mother of God, of other saints, of her patron saint, of her guardian angel. It's only Basil. And now that I mention it, I'm pretty sure that the purpose of this text wasn't only to inspire, righteous fear in Christians, but also as well, and perhaps even primarily, to keep Christians in line with the precepts of their spiritual fathers. Keep them in line. But I think the vision fell spectacularly. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that there was something else I wanted to address, but as I said, I believe that demons accuse the soul, but also they're slanderers. And that's all there is to it. Okay, this has gone on for far too long. Bye!